Sometimes a coat is just a coat, and sometimes it's a story of the West. Buffalo killed and bordering on extinction. People settling the frontier and living off the land. The story of this buffalo coat began up in Wisconsin back in 1888 when Albert Huber and his brother Charles had an idea.
Grandpa Huber was interested in all kinds of animals and plants and things, and he just got interested in it, and they decided, him and his brother Charles decided they wanted to find some buffalo.
They heard about there were some for sale in Minnesota.
Yeah. And this cowboy, wasn't it, Margie, out in Minnesota had a couple. They heard about it, so they went out there and got them from him, and then they walked them back to Wisconsin, and then they started their buffalo farm up there.
And they fashioned some sort of a wagon. They would stop at the little towns and raise the curtains for the people to see, and then they would charge people to see the buffalo. They made a little money that way. They charged them to see the buffalo.
After a few frustrating years, Albert figured out how to breed these wild animals and built a herd of about 40 buffalo on his farm. People came from miles around to see these magnificent beasts, then almost gone from the western frontier. They took the buffalo to the World's Fair in Chicago, where they met the legendary Buffalo Bill.
They took the buffaloes to the fair in Chicago, and that's where he met Buffalo Bill and Annie Oakley. And he had some spent shells of after she shot her gun. Albert had some of those that he kept, but that's where he met them. And
he sold the buffalo to Buffalo Bill while he was there. Buffalo Bill wanted those buffalo, so he sold them to him.
In 1906, Albert sold all but 2 of the buffalo and moved his family on the train down to Arkansas. He rode in the cattle car with the 2 beloved animals, and the family rode up front with all of their possessions, including the buffalo coat.
I remember what my mother told me about when the Hubers came to Wiener on Thanksgiving Day in 1906. And they came by train, and they went by her. She said she was 8 years old. She was on her front porch and watched it was just a parade going by. The buffaloes went first with the boys herding them. And then the wagons, the neighbors brought their wagons to the train to get the furniture and their things. And then they took them to the farm out southwest of Wiener here.
Our great-grandpa Huber was ahead of his time as far as his thinking was concerned. He was very progressive. And so to bring the buffalo down to Wiener was probably a combination of the fact that he loved animals, but also I would assume that he had read up on the fact that this was a very important part of American history, and this particular breed of animal was about to become extinct because of the abuses that the buffalo had faced out west. And I have a memory of going over to my great-uncle's house and seeing the buffalo coat in the closet. And this was a couple of blocks down from where we lived.
The Huber family donated the coat to the Arkansas State University Museum, and today that same buffalo coat holds a family history, a frontier history, and tells of a time when the buffalo roamed.